अनजान लिंक्स पर क्लिक मत कीजिए। RBI कहता है
जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the Startup Mahakumbh in New Delhi. The forum brings together stakeholders from the world of startups, innovators and upcoming entrepreneurs. The 44-day-long electoral process for India's general elections kicks in. Election Commission to issue notification for the first phase of polling, voting for 102 constituencies to be held on April 19. 5 US states hold their presidential nominating contest on Tuesday. Donald Trump and Joe Biden notch wins in Ohio. Ex-president prevails in Florida, Illinois primaries. US Supreme Court allows Texas police arrest migrants suspected of illegally crossing the border, while White House says the move will sow chaos and confusion at the southern border. Republicans call it clearly a positive development. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address entrepreneurs and all stakeholders at India's largest and first of its kind startup event, Startup Mahakumbh, today. The Startup Mahakumbh is a forum which brings together stakeholders from the world of startups, innovators and upcoming entrepreneurs. The event is designed to foster innovation and entrepreneurship across India. In a social media post on X, Prime Minister on Tuesday said that India's strides in the world of startups has been phenomenal in the last few years. Startup Mahakumbh, a premier event showcasing India's vibrant startup ecosystem, is in full swing. The event offers a unique platform for startups to connect with a diverse area of stakeholders, including venture capitalists, investors and potential corporate partners. DD India's Siddharth Bhardwaj tells us more.
Startup Mahakumbh, an illustrious gathering of startups, unicorns, soonicorns, investors and industry stakeholders. Entrepreneurs from across the nation have converged here, each with unique products and high aspirations. With a projected attendance of over 1,000 startups across the 3-day event, this serves as a prime opportunity for them to showcase their innovations and carve out a niche in the market.
As we all know that India has the third largest ecosystem of a startup in the world. The Startup India mission started in 2016, and at that point hardly there were 300 startups in country. Today the entire ecosystem has grown and now we are more than 1 lakh startups in India.
From harnessing artificial intelligence in their offerings to presenting handcrafted treasures, each exhibit here narrates a distinct narrative.
Salam Kisan is a data-driven, tech-enabled end-to-end platform that helps farmers with better decision-making. We have an AI crop calendar. We provide drone as a service and soil testing 90-second service. We also have input and output marketplaces where farmers can buy products from and sell their produce.
We make paper without cutting a single tree. We make paper from waste cotton rags. And now, interesting thing we do is we infuse seeds in our paper and have created 2,000 plus products.
We have an e-commerce platform for artisans and NGOs. We help connect them to markets. And we also work with them on product design, unit economics, and help their products become better and ready for corporate gifting as well.
Beyond just a haven for startups, this event also captivates visitors with its unparalleled offerings.
Really excited and happy to see all the new age startups here.
This is a great opportunity offered by the government to the people to showcase the small products, to put their talents out and to get in connection with the rest of the world.
With myriad startups seizing the spotlight on such grand stages, the future of India shines brilliantly.
Startup Mahakumbh is an excellent platform for the startups to showcase their products
and collaborate with investors. It's a place where different ideas converge and visionary minds unite. With camera person Vishnu Bandhu, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in New Delhi.
And now we take a look at the latest on what's happening in India in the run-up to the world's largest democratic general elections. India's 44-day-long electoral process begins on Wednesday with the Election Commission of India issuing the notification for the first phase of general elections on Wednesday. Voting for 102 Lok Sabha constituencies across 17 states and 4 union territories will take place on April 19th. The last date for filing nominations is March 27th. 39 seats of Tamil Nadu, 12 seats of Rajasthan, 8 seats of Uttar Pradesh, 6 seats of Madhya Pradesh, 5 seats each in Uttarakhand, Assam and Maharashtra, 4 seats of Bihar, 3 seats of West Bengal, 2 seats each in Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya and 1 seat each in Chhattisgarh, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Jammu and Kashmir, Lakshadweep and Puducherry will go to polls in the first phase. In total, the general elections will be conducted in 7 phases, with the final phase scheduled for June 1st. Counting of votes will take place on June 4th. As India gears up for the 7th phase elections spread over 44 days, the second longest election in the history of Indian democracy, here's a look at India's history of elections that evolved over the years from using physical ballots to the EVMs.
After independence till 1952, India was run by an interim legislature known as the Indian Constituent Assembly. The Election Commission is an independent constitutional authority brought into force from November 26, 1949, whereas most of its other provisions were made effective from January 26, 1950, when the Constitution of India became effective. The first ever elections were held on the basis of universal adult franchise, which is associated with Article 326 of the Indian Constitution. It states that all citizens, regardless of their caste, education, religion, gender, color, race and economic conditions, are free to vote, and anyone over the age of 21 years old could cast their franchise. The voting age in India was reduced to 18 years by the 61st Constitutional Amendment in 1989. India has an interesting story from how its elections transitioned from voting via ballot paper to electronic voting machines and then to VVPATs, that is, voter verifiable paper audit trail. During the 1952 elections, a low level of literacy was a major challenge. There were over 173 million voters, most of them had no experience of voting. So, in the first elections in India, the symbols of respective candidates were affixed on ballot boxes to facilitate voters. No mark was made on the ballot paper to cast a vote. The ballot paper was simply put by the voter in a box carrying the symbol of the candidate of their choice. This helped preserve the secrecy of the vote as well as enabled voters to vote as per their choice.
The ballot paper was replaced for the first time with electronic voting machines in 1982 on an experimental basis for by-elections to Parur Assembly constituency in the South Indian state of Kerala.
The Representation of People Act 1951 was amended in 1989 to provide for the use of EVMs. General elections from the year 2004 have been conducted via EVMs only. Thus, technology became an integral part of the electoral process. In 2013, the Voter Verifiable Paper Audit Trail or VVPAT was introduced to enable a voter to verify that their vote has only gone to the candidate of their choice. A printer attached with the EVM in the voting compartment prints the name and symbol of the candidate for whom a voter has voted. This printed slip remains exposed for 7 seconds under a transparent window and gets cut automatically and falls into a drop box which remains sealed. A VVPAT was first used in Noksen, an assembly constituency of the northeast Indian state of Nagaland, in the September of 2013. As a pilot project in the year 2014, Indian general elections 8 out of 543 parliamentary constituencies use the VVPAT system. During 2019 general elections, VVPATs were deployed in all polling stations of the country. Election Commission of India believes that the introduction of VVPAT has brought utmost transparency and credibility in the EVM-based voting system and conclusively put to rest all misinformed doubts and misgivings regarding these machines and the voting process. Antara Sinha for DD India.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be travelling to Bhutan for a 2-day visit this Thursday. This signals the importance attached by India to its ties with the Himalayan nation. DD India's correspondent Amritpal Singh sends us this report from Bhutan's capital, Thimphu.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Bhutan on the 21st and 22nd of this month. The visit comes days after Bhutanese Prime Minister sharing top-case visit to India from the 14th to the 18th of March. During the visit, Prime Minister Modi will receive Bhutan's highest civilian award, the Order of the Druk Gyalpo from the King of Bhutan, Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk. Bhutan had announced the award on the occasion of the country's 114th National Day in 2021. The visit is expected to further cement relations between the two neighboring nations. India and Bhutan share a unique and exemplary partnership which cuts across various sectors like hydroelectric power generation, manufacturing, hospitality, pharmaceuticals, education. In fact, many Bhutanese students every year are given various scholarships to study in India. And also over 1,000 Indian ITES companies are training young Bhutanese students in schools like this, equipping them with IT skills. Infrastructure development remains a key component of India's developmental assistance to Bhutan. Prime Minister Modi will be inaugurating a mother and child hospital built with Indian funding.
In this hospital, there will be OTs, there will be neonatal, ICU. So you call it, all the facilities are now incorporated in this new hospital. So we are very happy to see that we have a now new state-of-the-art hospital funded by the government of India.
Now we have more facilities out here, so we don't have to go to Kolkata or anywhere else.
In strengthening the healthcare services of Bhutan, I think India has played a big role, because back in the day there were lots of patients who needed to be referred out to India because we didn't have the facilities that were required here. But in the recent days, thanks to help from the Indian government, we have brought in new equipment and they have been helping us with the infrastructure, they've been helping us with technical expertise as well.
We are very lucky that we get support from India, and especially for the lives of patients, they make a huge difference.
As Prime Minister Modi prepares to visit Bhutan this week, the stage is all set for further strengthening the multifaceted relationship between the two neighbors, especially in the critical field of infrastructure development like this mother and child hospital, which has been funded by India, that the Prime Minister shall be inaugurating. With my colleague Neeraj Singh and cameraman YK Loknath, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Thimphu.
Serving as a spiritual bridge between India and Thailand, fostering a deep-rooted civilizational connection, relics of Lord Buddha, along with those of his disciples Arahata Sariputra and Arahata Modgalayana, returned to India on Tuesday after being displayed in Thailand as part of the 26-day exposition. Minister of State for External Affairs and Culture, Meenakshi Lekhi, received the relics in a ceremony marking their return home. Millions of people paid respects to the relics, which returned to India amid full state honours during the exposition. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India now. India's Directorate of Revenue Intelligence in Mumbai has seized around 10 kilograms of cocaine with an illicit market value of approximately 100 crores rupees and arrested 2 female passengers of Indonesian and Thai nationalities who had come from Ethiopia. The interrogation and case data revealed that the drugs were destined for smuggling in Delhi and nearby areas. Indian Navy and Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, signed an MOU on Tuesday at Naval Headquarters, New Delhi. The MOU aims to promote technology, innovative solutions, and joint research and development related to defense sector in the varied fields of engineering. Train operations were disrupted at Bagaha station of Bihar Samastipur division on Tuesday evening due to the derailment of 2 wagons of a goods train. Some trains have been diverted and operations of some trains have been partially closed. Up next, a short break on DD India Live. But after the break, Haiti is facing an ongoing wave of violence in the capital, with gangs targeting wealthy neighborhoods. United Nations Weather Agency issues red alert on climate change after record heat. Finland is the world's happiest country for the 7th year in a row.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get to international updates. 5 states held their presidential nominating contests on Tuesday. Donald Trump won Tuesday's Republican presidential primary in Florida, a vote the former president was expected to carry easily after all his major challengers had dropped out. Trump's win in his adopted home state came as he also won Ohio and Illinois' Republican primary. President Joe Biden, meanwhile, won Ohio's Democratic primary at the same time. There was no contest for him to win in Florida as Democrats there cancelled their primary and opted to award all the 224 of their delegates to Biden. Trump and Biden are also expected to easily win primaries on Tuesday in Arizona and Kansas, banking more support after becoming their party's presumptive nominees last week. The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed Texas to enforce one of the toughest immigration laws enacted by any state in recent memory. The measure allows police to arrest and prosecute those suspected of illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexican border. Punishments would range from misdemeanors to felonies and potential imprisonment of up to 20 years or fines of up to $2,000. Crossing the U.S. border illegally is already a federal crime, but violations are usually handled as civil cases by the immigration court system. Also, the courts have previously ruled that only the federal government can enforce the country's immigration laws, not individual U.S. states. White House has said that the Texas law will sow chaos and confusion at our southern border, while the Republicans call it clearly a positive development. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said, and I quote, SB 4 will not only make communities in Texas less safe, it will also burden law enforcement and sow chaos and confusion at our southern border. She also termed it as just another example of Republican officials politicizing the border while blocking real solutions. Also, the Republicans have sharply criticized the Democratic president's handling of the record number of migrants caught illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border. Mexico's foreign ministry has called the Texas law anti-migrant and xenophobic. It urged the concerned parties to address the negative narrative.
Supreme Court of the United States approved the SB 4 law, which is an anti-immigrant, xenophobic, discriminatory law which says in Texas that any migrant or any person who circulates anywhere in Texas can be detained by the authorities and can be put in jail or deported even if they have been living in the United States for years.
U.S. congressional leaders reached a deal to keep the government funded through the rest of the fiscal year that started in October. Current House rules require that lawmakers have 3 days to consider legislation before bringing it to the floor and pass it before a weekend shutdown deadline. But tensions continue as the nation's $34.5 trillion national debt continues to grow. DD India's correspondent Nick Harper gets us more from Washington, D.C.
Importantly, what has been agreed by the negotiators on both sides is really the last piece of the puzzle, and that was all to do with homeland security. Of course, the very contentious issue at the moment in an election year, looking at how to strengthen areas along the border with Mexico. They have now agreed funding that would run until the end of this fiscal year, so the end of September, along with 5 other bills that they had to agree on. In total, those 6 bills fund about 3/4 of the US government. It covers other big departments like the State Department, military spending, so the Pentagon as well. But we are still in a situation where we may have a partial shutdown, at least for a brief time. Now, midnight Friday going into Saturday, that's the deadline by which both houses of Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate, need to agree to this. But we still don't have the full text, and only when we have the full text will that 72-hour or 3-day clock begin, which means that people in the House of Representatives will be able to look at the text and decide whether or not they want to vote on it when it comes up for a full vote.
Haiti is facing an ongoing wave of violence in its capital, Port-au-Prince, with gangs targeting wealthy neighborhoods. Dozens of deaths have been reported, while parts of the city have suffered blackouts. DD India's Latin American correspondent Maddie Trini-Mena has more on this.
Tensions remain high in Haiti amid increased attacks by gangs who are now set to control 80% of the capital. The situation continues to worsen despite the resignation of the country's Prime Minister Ariel Henry last week. The Caribbean nation is waiting for the formation of a transitional council that is expected to fill the political vacuum. However, the announcements have not calmed the violence, with heavily armed civilians causing chaos across the city. Over the past couple of days, gangs have concentrated their attacks on neighborhoods where they have looted buildings and killed residents. Pétionville is a wealthy suburb in the southeast of Port-au-Prince. It's been reported that at least 12 male bodies were left in the streets. The capital's electrical power grid was also attacked. In a statement, the utility company Electricity of Haiti said that 4 substations located in the metropolitan area of Port-au-Prince were vandalized. As a result, they are out of service. The surrounding areas were affected by a power shortage, one of them the entrance of the U.S. Embassy. The embassy only has limited operation and has reinforced its security. Meanwhile, Mexico is bracing for a new wave of Haitian migrants who are using its border to enter the United States. In recent years, due to the violence, thousands of Haitians have fled to the U.S. Maddie Trini-Mena in Caracas, reporting for DD India.
The state of the climate in 2023 gave ominous new significance to the phrase off the charts. Now, a new report from the World Meteorological Organization shows that records were once again broken and in some cases smashed for greenhouse gas levels, surface temperatures, ocean heat and acidification, sea level rise, Antarctic sea cover and glacier retreat. The report launched by UN's World Meteorological Organization has revealed that the planet is on the cusp of reaching the Paris Climate Accord's key warming threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius.
And cause billions of dollars in economic losses. It also said key...
Finland once again tops the World Happiness Report by the UN with absence of corruption to determine a country's national happiness. Reports by UN claims the country is filled with citizens promoting social support, health, freedom, generosity. Finland is topping the list for a 7th year in a row, closely followed by Denmark and Iceland. According to the report, the happiness rate has drastically declined in the Middle East and North Africa. War-torn Afghanistan and Lebanon remain the 2 unhappiest countries in the survey. Each year during the month of March, thousands of visitors descend in Seattle with one goal in mind: to see the cherry blossom trees in their full cloud-like bloom. The trees were initially planted in the nearby Washington Park Arboretum in 1962. Now the cherry trees bloom there. All right, with those beautiful visuals, we end this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.